Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I can't believe it. It's 2021 and Mandalorian recaps are back. Everybody, Mandalorian recaps are back. Thank you guys as always for tuning in and listening. I got to give some quick shout outs off the top. Blacktastic Media, thank you. And Kim Possible, thank you again for always. Kim Possible been riding for a minute. Thank you so much for leaving the comments. You guys have been giving me some funny stuff about Ahsoka Tano. That was the last episode we left off, chapter 13, and funny comments about Grogu, which, if you guys notice, it's just me. I don't have Grogu with me today because some stuff went down in these episodes that we about to talk about. So, Grogu is a little mission in action, and we kind of see him every now and again. But yeah, so again, welcome everybody that's tuning in. I'm your host, Ryan. Today, Mandalorian recaps are back. Thank you. We're in 2021. Hope you guys had a safe holiday. Hope you're staying safe, wearing your mask. Always important to wear your mask. But yeah, so again, thank you, Blacktastic Media. Thank you, Kim Possible, for the shout outs. Always give your comments. I give people shout outs. I want you guys to know I am going back looking at the comments. Thank you for the love and all the feedback. And this time I want you guys to let me know what you think about Grogu is what's going down with him in these two episodes being missing and trying to find out where he's at. So yeah, definitely let me know what you think about that. What you think about it so far, because we only have one more episode, one more recap. So you guys that in the comments and stuff, don't be giving away spoilers because we're only talking about chapter 14 and chapter 15 today. So we are making sure. I think I see Micaiah the Stranger. I'm giving you guys shout outs as I see you guys pop up here. Hello, welcome everybody that's coming in. I'm trying to give you guys shout outs. But yeah, we're talking about chapter 14, chapter 15 today, episode 6 and 7. If you want to think about it like that. Episode 8, chapter 16 is the season finale. Last one we have to go. So I will be back to make sure I break that down for you, and I'm gonna have all the rants because I've been holding in on my rants for these two episodes. So here we go. We're about to break it down. We're about to get into this. There's no Grogu. I cannot. First of all, that's a tongue twister, by the way. I don't know why they keep doing that. We just gonna stick with Baby Yoda, but I don't know what's going on with these episodes right now, what they're missing. But you guys know I got to start you off with chapter 14, the tragedy. We're going to do a scene by scene breakdown. But before we do that, I got to tell you about the director, Robert Rodriguez. He's done projects like Spy Kids, the Spy Kids series, Alita, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, Battle Angel. And then this was written by Jon Favreau, the captain of this whole vessel. So he got in on his writing in this one. So yeah, scene by scene breakdown. So where we left off in chapter 13, Ahsoka Tano told told Baby Yoda, Grogu, that hey, you guys need to go find out what how can we find a Jedi for Baby Yoda? What's his next steps? Is he really for the Jedi life? So we're definitely jumping into that for this episode here. So they head off to Tython. And Tython is supposed to be where this is the last little Jedi sanctuary, if you will, where he could kind of figure out his path and kind of use the Force and everything. We get to see that in a really cool way. So, but before they actually land in Tython, we open up with this really cute moment, I should say, with Grogu and the Mando. They're sharing this cute moment. You see Mando calling Grogu's name because finally Grogu has something to listen. And I say he's really gonna listen to him, but he has his name and everything now, so it's kind of hard for him to kind of ignore him because he's calling him by name. So they had this really cute kid-father relationship now, and you remember Ahsoka Tano kind of pointed that out, how special the bond is now that Mando now is even more embracing it. Since she pointed out, and she's like, you care a lot for him, so you need to take care of him. Needs to be sort of kind of a path that they're kind of taking together as they head down to Tython. So we get to Tython. They can't land in the Razor Crest because if you check out the real rocky terrain and everything like that, it's kind of hard for the Razor Crest. We know how the Razor Crest kind of takes these bad landings and it's very bumpy and rocky, so he can't land. So we get to see an awesome jetpack flying scene where he's carrying Baby Yoda and Baby Yoda screaming like he's on a roller coaster, which is so cute. Love that. So as they approach the Seeing Stone, Mando puts Grogu on there because this is his moment, right? This is where he's supposed to figure out where, have a Jedi come find him, figure out if this is his path for him. So we land on top of this stone. They see some kind of spacecraft appear. You know how Star Wars got those phenomenal spacecrafts. I didn't do my research on this, so if you guys know what that spacecraft was called, let me know. So we saw this spacecraft coming out of nowhere as Mando sits Grogu down on this seeing stone. And so Mando, you know what, Mando goes into protective dad mode. He's like, okay, I'm gonna watch out for you. You got to do your thing. You got to hurry up. We also get this cool moment too. I'm jumping because I'm so excited about how this kind of unfolded in new details. But we also started too in the beginning, before, as he sat him down, it was kind of this cool moment where Grogu was basically back in charge, the leader. Let's just be honest, Grogu's always in charge. But Grogu kind of had this moment where we were kind of waiting for him to do something, you know, like he's on the seeing stone and Mando don't know what's going on. And he's like, okay, this, you know, he starts playing with a little butterfly that pops up. It's like, okay, do your thing, find out what a Jedi is going on, do your thing. So yeah, then back to him just sitting there, and both of them just kind of standing there, you know, their usual combo of Grogu not paying attention to Mando sitting there trying to figure out what's going on, us laughing as the audience members. So we see the jet come by, protective dad mode's in effect. Then all of a sudden we see this force field energy surround Grogu, and we're like, oh, now he want to get into the force field. Now he want to get into it. So get into using the force. So he's in the mode. Got the force field up. Mando tries to reach him, you know, the dad trying to break up the party. So he tries to go in and reach him and grab for him, but you know, no such luck. So he's basically like, okay, I gotta do what I gotta do. You take your time, figure out what you gotta do, you know, kind of make it snappy because we got some weird stuff going off here. So Mando is like, all right, I'm going to buy you some time. We go off now. Mando goes down this little rocky path, this little cliff from where the seeing stone is. And we get up to there's this mysterious guy that comes around, pops up, starts shooting Mando because he sees him first. I'm starting to wonder a little bit about Mando's sneak up spy skills, because this is the second time, because Ahsoka Tano got him too. This is the second time somebody done snuck up on him, and you know, we like, okay, you supposed to have the glasses and the tech, you supposed to have a stealth mode, but somebody snuck up on him again. So the mysterious stranger comes out here and was like, hey, I've been tracking you. And if you guys remember, this is the same face we saw. I believe he had a cameo in the past too, but he had a cameo in the premiere episode. And basically he's like, dude, I want my armor. And he's referring to the armor that Mando took from the Marshal in the previous episodes. On Tatooine. So he's wanting his armor back, and you know how it go down. Mando's not giving up that armor. He's strict code by the book. If you cannot prove to him that this armor is yours, if you can't prove to him that you're a Mandalorian, you ain't getting this armor, sir. So we watch this whole showdown go down, and just when we think it's just it's just going to be this mysterious stranger who we not yet have gotten to his name yet, and Mando, the assassin Fennec, comes back into the building. I'm like, what? Ming-Na Wen plays the Fennec, by the way. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Mulan. Yeah, she's badass. So she pops back in there, plays this dope assassin, by the way. Like, whoo, and I want to get into her crosshairs at all. But yeah, it was dope to see her come back, because I thought the way she was killed off before was very quick. When there felt like there was so many layers, so much more they could have did with her story. So it was so cool to see her come back. Although I'm a little panicked because her shot, and Mando a little outnumbered. Like, he already got shot at a couple times. And so now we get into who this mysterious guy is that's with Fennec, that actually saved Fennec as well to bring her back for us, so we can get the and now they're this cool little badass duo, Boba Fett. And so if all you Star Wars fans out there, like, I saw Twitter go crazy before I got to see the episode myself. Famed bounty hunter, he was presumed dead in the Return of the Jedi. And then apparently he is the only unaltered clone of Jango Fett. So that's just a little background for people that are not aware of who Boba Fett is. But yeah, Twitter, everybody exploded, lost their minds. Boba Fett's back. Fett, as we hear a lot of people call him, as we continue in the series throughout these episodes. And so he says, listen, if you give me back this armor, that's mine. Because, Mando still ain't buying that as his armor. He still don't have to prove yet. He's like, if you give me the armor back, I'll make sure that you and Grogu stay safe. Because, there's still a bounty out on Grogu's head. They still want to find out they still want to find him because of Moff Gideon. Is everybody, he's out losing his stuff, going crazy trying to find Grogu. So there's a bounty out. So he's like, look, we're gonna leave y'all alone. It's all cool. I just want my armor back. All right. So him and Fennec are standing there. It's about to be a showdown. Then we think it's about to go down, right? Another spacecraft lands while they're here in Tathon. And so this spacecraft, though, by the way, and by the way, we take a little quick shot. Grogu's still on the stone in his little force field doing his thing. He got the little finger going, which is super cute, out in his old little meditation force field lane. Of course, as usual, Dad is taking care of everything while he's trying to get his life together. So, but yeah, in this spacecraft, of course, you cannot go anywhere without some stormtroopers. They always got to be messing up the party. They always got to come in the picture. So the stormtroopers was up in the game, started shooting right off the bat. We all know what they want. We know it's been coming episode after episode, who they chasing, who they going after. So what's cool though is that Mando, actually Mando goes back, tries to head back towards Grogu. And so we get to see this cool moment of Boba Fett and Fennec taking down these stormtroopers. And Boba Fett has, I think they call it a Gaffi stick. This first appeared in Star Wars New Hope. So this Gaffi stick, y'all, it's got like the spikes on the end. So he is just like tearing stormtrooper helmets up. And Fennec is just, her thing is automatically hide behind the rocks and everything, shoot them up, because she ain't gonna miss. So they're kind of handling all this stuff, all these different stormtroopers coming left and right. And then we see this moment, this kind of pause moment when everything's kind of handled, and Boba Fett runs to the Razor Crest. And, just as it appears that, everything's calming down, Fennec is taking out the last of the stormtroopers. Another group of stormtroopers come down, and Mando, by the way, I should have mentioned, is down on the ground because he's still trying to penetrate this force field. He still hasn't learned because he's in daddy's mode. He's survival mode. He's like, okay, I got to get Grogu. We got to go. I don't know what's happening. We got to go. Because note here, remember, he doesn't know that there's a tracker on his ship. So yes, Mika the Stranger says, curse those stormtroopers. I agree. I'm so tired of these stormtroopers. Every time they come out of nowhere, tons and tons of groups of these stormtroopers. It is unbelievable. But yeah, so Mando got taken down again because he's up there trying to get the force field, trying to get Grogu. So he's like, all right, cool. I gotta go. And just as he gets ready to go now, this is typical Grogu moments right here. Just as he gets ready to go, he's giving up. The Grogu drops the field and then kind of lays down. You got here. We're going back to this pass it out thing after he uses his powers, which kills me. I know he's a kid, but I'm like, he has the force. I'm like, can we get a little bit more extra force, extra effort here? So it's not like he's always getting snatched up. Grogu's the only line of defense, and then Grogu's usually trying to handle all other threats. But anyway, so he gets tired, passes down, lays down out of exhaustion. And we like, okay, well, I know, I'm like, here we go again. He done passed out of his, it's Grogu for you. So basically, we go back to Fennec and Fennec. Mando comes down. They're battling the stormtroopers because Fennec gets herself in a bind. It's only so much you can shoot, and these stormtroopers are coming all out of the way. So it's dope for Mando to come and jump in and lock down. The bullets can come off his suit, his Mandalorian armor pretty good. So he's the line of defense for a minute. And just as we think that, it's no hope because they kind of closing in. I mean, Mando's doing his thing, but they closing in on Fennec and Mando. It's a lot of these stormtroopers. So Boba Fett appears with his Mandalorian armor. He was like, look, I ain't waiting for you to hand me this. This is mine, dude. I'm going to put this on, handle business. So he comes down and is taking him out left and right. And but then we get to see another spacecraft comes, and we see, Moff Gideon, his crew, and or I think they do a little couple cutbacks and forth where we kind of see who's in this other spacecraft because we just got spacecrafts for days in the scene basically that just keep coming out of nowhere, keep coming down, trying to get these guys. And so after Boba Fett does his thing, we think they're done and everything. He even like uses jetpack, shoots off one of the missiles, which is a really cool shot. The way they did that to take down the rest of the stormtroopers. They take out Moff Gideon and his crew. Take out the Razor Crest. I'm like, what? Do you know how many repairs? Like, I just do they don't understand how many repairs this Razor Crest has been through, and this thing now is exploded, gone, no more Razor Crest. I'm like, really? You got to be kidding me. But okay, anyway, it's done. You know, we don't have it. Fennec, Mando and Fennec, they're like, okay, let's go after Grogu, let's go. And we go back to because you know, basically it's all over now. When the Razor Crest could take it out, because they know Razor Crest can fight, it can shoot off some bombs. So when it's gone, yeah, right. All that work for nothing. You know, I see you guys saying in the comments, it's crazy. Like all that work on that Razor Crest is done, it's gone. So they have no line of defense. Only thing Mando and Fennec can do is like, okay, we gotta go get Grogu. We gotta head, we gotta run. But they got distance to cover, y'all. They got distance. So we cut back to Moss Gideon, and he's like, are the dark troopers had they been deployed? And I'm like, oh God. When you first of all, you don't like stormtroopers, but he gonna deploy the dark troopers. And I'm like, oh, okay. And these not just your regular, like they don't have these same old like little outfits that see, I'm calling them cheesy because I don't really like these stormtroopers that get on my nerves, so I'm just gonna go with that. But it's basically they not built like the Mando, they not built like the Jedi. I was like, it's not the fly to swag. But let me tell you what, when these dark troopers drop down, the tech, like they got the little jets on the feet of the things. They look like these super huge robots. It kind of reminds me of the Iron Man, because mine just always goes to superhero world. The Iron Man scene in Iron Man 2, I believe, is when all the clone robots of Iron Man just dropped down on like I think it was where the Capitol was or something like that. And that's what the scene, the way they swoop down and drop down, that we see happen with because basically Fennec and Mando don't make it. And so, you know, one of these dark troopers end up coming down, swooping up poor Grogu, because you know he passed out by the time he came to, was nothing he could do. So yeah, Grogu is gone. We have this. I'm calm right now, but when I was watching this, I had a huge panic mode because I was like, how in the world are they gonna get him back? Like, there's no Razor Crest. Like, I know these people got their badass weapons and stuff, but I'm just like, come on now, because the whole point of this whole thing we've been chasing is Moff Gideon to stay away from Grogu, because we have no idea. Like, we kind of know what he want to do, but I mean, it's still dependent. It's still very sketchy. So we cut back to a very sad scene. This thing just keep getting sadder and sadder. Mando is looking through the remains of the ship. He picks up the little silver ball that we know is just like, I wonder if that thing is going to end up being like this iconic little piece. You know how you put like little pieces from different franchises and stuff? I wonder if the silver ball is going to be one of those iconic pieces that we can continue to think about when we think about Mandalorian for seasons to come, because they go back to it a lot, which I think is really cute, a little bonding moment, child and father. So yeah, he picks up the silver ball. He's like, and then he also has his Vaskar weapon. Thank God for Vaskar not being like, you can't destroy Vaskar. Thank you guys. So he has a Vaskar weapon. He has a silver ball. So we got like two things. We got like two things he saved for the Razor Quest. And then as he's picking that up, he goes and we see Fennec, we see Boba Fett still sitting there, and Boba Fett shows him like this little, like, I believe he called it a chain code, because you know they have these dope little wrist devices and stuff that come with these Mandalorian suits. So he kind of shows him, he's like walking him through, like, hey, this has been in my this is like my lineage. It's been around like 25 years. It shows him, his father Jango. And so basically that's enough to show the Mando like, hey, yes, this is your armor. You're right. You deserve it. This has been in your family. You know, I can accept you as a Mandalorian. I get what you're coming from. And so what is cool about this moment, though, is because you think Boba Fett's just going to take off. Okay, he got his armor. He got what he came for. Bye, see you later. But Fennec and Boba Fett now feel like are pulling a Mando move where, you know, Mando always pays his debts. He never leaves anybody hanging, like he's just that dude. So now we got Fennec and Boba Fett, and they like, look, we promised you that if I got my armor back, we were going to keep Grogu safe. So they like, listen, we going to ride out with you till you get your child back, till you get Grogu back. So at least now he has a ride, and I believe they're headed to Navarro. And because, or they end up going to Navarro. I don't know if they actually kind of state that to us, but then we get to Navarro. We got Mando meets up with Cardoon, Marshall Dune now of the New Republic. So we step in and meet with her. He meets with her and he's like, look, I need to find this ex-Imperial sharpshooter named Mayfield. You guys remember back in the first season, they all got on the ship trying to break out a prisoner. You know, Mendo's values was in question a lot there. And so Mayfield basically took a lot of the brunt, I feel like, for this. Some of the people got killed too. So I mean, who else was there to take a fall for this robbery? But yeah, he's been locked up. So Marshall Dune is helping Mando track him down. And he's like, look, I need to find Mayfield because basically Mayfield still got those Imperial ties. And I need to find Moss Gideon's light cruiser. And yeah, so that basically it wraps us up with the team down there. But we do have a last shot with Moss Gideon, the light cruiser, traveling in hyperspace, by the way, which you're like, really makes it even harder to track him down. And we go to a cell that's holding Grogu. And, you know, you get this little moment excited because Grogu is actually using his powers and everything. He's not passed out. He's like throwing these two stormtroopers around. And but of course, they could let me live for a moment. He gets tired and does get his little lean on because he gets exhausted and stuff. So he does that, and then Moss Gideon brings up the Darksaber, and you guys remember how epic that Darksaber reveal was in the first season. So it was dope to see him bring back the Darksaber, and he approaches Grogu with it. Grogu looks like he's trying to use a force on it. He kind of pulls his little hand up there, and you're like, oh God, what's about to go down? But you know, he's little, he can't, what is he gonna do? Moss Gideon just want to show off that he got something, as he usually do. So we basically they put shackles on him, and they tell Moss Gideon gives the order to send a message to the doctor that they have the donor that they've been looking for. And I'm like, oh God, we got to go to chapter 15 because I'm sweating at this point. I don't know what's going to go down. So here we go. We're going to keep it rolling. Scene by scene breakdown. The Believer, chapter 15 going on here. Episode written and directed by Rick Famuyiwa. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He is a Nigerian American director, producer, screenwriter. He's directed films like Dope, The Wood, Confirmation. So I thought it was real kind of cool to figure out he had a background in this. By the way, too, I'm going to try to bring you guys from some of that for the season finale, but it just made me think of this director because he was in it. But you guys, the behind the scenes on how they do all of this, how they use the volume, the set they call it, they do for Mandalorian is really epic. If you guys want to go on Disney Plus and check that out, it's really cool. That's how I found out a lot about this particular director, Rick Famuyiwa. Is he talks about how it was so cool to have these basically these screens that are set, and so he was able to be more closer to the hello. Cool Jet 87. Hello to you. He says he enjoyed The Mandalorian. But yeah, so check out these behind the scenes moments. Rick, the director here for this episode, was talking about how he liked to have that up and close and personal with the actors, you know, because they're working in this volume, because of the kind of sets that they have. So yeah, it's dope. So definitely check out the behind the scenes. And like I said, I'm gonna try to bring you some of that stuff for the season finale too, because I learned a whole bunch. These sets are crazy. So anyway, going into The Believer, chapter 15 here. Sharpshooter Mayfield, we see him working on, I guess that's part of his prison assignment. He's working on some kind of tech, some kind of metals, or just beating on some kind of metals or whatever, like they have you do the hard labor in prison. And so basically Marshall Dune, we see her come up and she's like, look, I need this inmate to come with me. I need you to release him in my custody. And so, and by the way, too, Mayfield has this sense of humor that goes throughout this episode that is that's super epic, super crazy. You get to see him interact with the prison guards and everything, kind of in this beginning here, see a lot of his comedic side. So anyway, we got Marshall Dune taking Mayfield to the ship. And as they're getting to the ship, we see Boba Fett. We got the whole crew now. Mando has a crew behind him. We got Boba Fett. We got Fennec, Marshall Dune now. Mayfield is now part of the team. Because they're basically like, look, what else you got? What else you got to do? You get a little time to stretch your legs, and we need you to come and help us out. Because, you know, he's asking all these questions like, why y'all need me? I mean, you know, he's a criminal, whatever he does. You know, he's got like a billion questions I want to help. So they're all in the ship here, which I don't know how I feel about this ship, but I believe Boba Fett's ship is called Slave One. So I mean, however you feel about that. Maybe I think I might just cut ahead and refer to keep the spacecraft going for his thing. But I mean, I'm sure it might not mean that, but it's just, it's a little weird this time, a little sensitive time. So I might just stick to spacecraft. So Boba Fett spacecraft are all in it, which is super dope too, by the way, how they're sitting, this spherical way it looks. They kind of see outside, everybody's kind of sitting around in this circle. And so they're telling them, they're kind of laying out the plan. Hey, this is what we need you to do. And Mayfield is like, okay, well, I could do this kind of stuff, but I need an internal Imperial terminal to access all this information that you guys need. And so they're like, all right, okay, cool. I guess he ends up naming that there's a secret Imperial mining hub in Morak. So, what options do they have? Because I got to get Grogu back. So we're on our journey to Morak, to this Imperial mining hub. And then basically this is for me where the episode gets super weird, super dicey for me, in my opinion, because we see the Mando, his values are questioned a lot in this, the choices he has to make as a Mandalorian, because we know he has so many rules that he sticks by as a Mandalorian. So it's very interesting to see these different choices that he's about to make from this point forward. So anyway, they end up hijacking, taking over a transportation vehicle for some troopers on their way to this, because they need to go, like I said, they need to go to this Imperial mining hub. We're in Morak, and we get to see the Mandalorian. Basically, before this, we go through this whole thing where it's like Fennec, Marshall Doom, she can't do it. And one person I'm leaving out, Boba Fett, Fett can't do it because they'll all be, streamed or tracked down by security when you go through these scanners and everything. So none of them are able to get past security to be able to help out Mayfield. So the only person that can go is the Mandalorian. Problem is, you can't waltz up into no Imperial mining hub looking like a Mandalorian. Obviously, somebody's gonna know what's going down. So he can't show his face. So what he's gonna have to do is wear Stormtrooper armor, which I'm like, not this ugly armor, because it's not fly. It doesn't have the swag that the Mando armor has. So he has to put on this armor in order to sneak in. So we see him come out dressed like a stormtrooper. So weird. We see Mayfield with his comedic self wearing his stuff as well, talking about the armor stinks and everything as he's slowly trying to pull it on and get into this vehicle. So basically, they're in a transport vehicle. They're carrying this explosives, rhydonium, and they're off to this refinery, the mining hub. So it's going down. So now we're on this event, we're on this trip, and as the kind of beginning of the trip is these very interesting conversations between Mayfield and Mando, which is cool because it kind of breaks the ice, because right now it's super awkward. You like, man, they got to be back in contact with each other. Obviously, one of them has different morals than the other. One is out to try to help people more than the other, as it seems at first in the scene. And I love this moment. I don't remember the exact lines, but I love the moment where Mayfield basically points out that when you get desperate, or when it's somebody that you care about, you are going to cross some lines. And then he says, everybody gets to their lines that they won't cross until it gets messy. And as far as I'm concerned, if you can make it through the day and sleep at night, then you're doing better than most. So I thought that was interesting to think of it. Like, you have lines that you have to cross sometime, but if you could sleep at night, if it's not so bad, if you could close your eyes at the night, you can make it through. So I thought that was an interesting perspective for Mayfield, because we usually don't expect him to be that insightful. He's always cracking jokes and trying to be funny and all that kind of stuff. So they continue to drive along after having that moment. And of course, you're not going to ride in a truck full of explosives and get to the mining hub peacefully in a Mandalorian. So all of a sudden, these pirates start jumping, trying to hijack this transportation thing, trying to blow up the rhydonium. And so Mayfield is not moving from this driving post basically this whole time. Like, he gonna keep his thing steady. He's watching. There's like these little meters on the side that let you know when the rhydonium is getting too hot, where the whole thing can explode. So Mayfield keeping his eyes on the road, trying to keep everything steady. Mando now has to go to the top of the craft, because they got to deal with these dudes. They can't let them blow the stuff up. Obviously, it's part of their cover. Part of, okay, hey, I don't want to die because I'm full of a lot. It's a lot of explosives in here. So Mando shows off some impressive skills, by the way, because we know Stormtrooper armor ain't got nothing that he used to having with his Mandalorian armor. So he's having like parts of the suit is getting cracked. He's having to bring out some super combat skills, throwing people off the thing left and right. So it's real cool to get to see him have to get down to the bare minimum. You can see some of the exhaustion too as these scenes go, because he's trying to have to fight so hard. He don't have a cool we don't have the explosives coming from the kneecap part of the armor and stuff to see through. Like he's just trying to have to do everything with this very limited stormtrooper armor. And so, basically they end up having to fight these guys as much as they can. So they get to the very end and it looks like Mando is running out of luck. They have to slow down the vehicle because, like I said, Mayfield's trying to keep it under control because you can't travel fast in this vehicle, which sucks because the rhydonium could explode and get overheated. So they ended up getting right to the hub, right to the door, and some other stormtroopers came to their rescue. Because, we're playing along now. It's that weird psyche now because most of the time I see a stormtrooper want to punch it because I'm getting tired of what they're doing this whole series. But these stormtroopers are actually come and save the day. Like they actually shoot up all these pirates. So it allows them to kind of slowly make their way into the refinery. They pulled it off. They can breathe a little bit. Everybody's celebrating them. And apparently, because we get to see everybody clapping it up, I'm like, well, dang, do stormtroopers die that much? They got to clap when they come up to the refinery. But apparently, as we find out, as this thing kind of continues to unfold for them inside, that a lot of these, and we kind of saw it too as they were driving, a lot of these stormtroopers haven't been making it back lately. A lot of these pirates been taken out. All of these different rhydonium transport vehicles and everything. So it was rare that they made it sad. So that's why everybody was celebrating and everything. And so we finally get to the terminal where we think Mayfield is going to go in and do their thing because they done already been through hell pretty much getting to this place. So you thinking, okay, it's going to slow down. No, it's not going to slow down. So we see this guy named Valdez, one of the one of the chiefs, one of the head commanders or whatever. Obviously, you can tell he's over Mando and Mayfield by the way he starts to act. But Mayfield gets nervous because he's like, okay, Valdez is going to recognize me. Valdez is going to recognize me. So Mando, and then he wants to turn back and he's like, okay, we'll just find another terminal. Mando is like, oh, hell no, basically. I mean, he didn't say this, but you look on his face, and I'm thinking it too, because I'm like, dude, we just sat through this whole journey where y'all almost died getting shot up left and right by pirates, trying to get blown up by pirates. So y'all got to do something. But what I don't like is basically the only other option they had, because Mayfield really wussed up at this moment, was like, no, I'm not going to do it. He can recognize me, which turns out to be dumb because it seemed like he don't remember to do that at all. But anyway, Mayfield is like, oh, he's going to recognize me. So Mando has to go in here. And the thing is, when the Mando gets to the terminal, one of the things to get you in is you have to use facial recognition. So I'm like, no, Mando is not about to take off his helmet because you got some of these other officers in there, some of these other stormtroopers. So nobody's supposed to see his face. So we get to this moment where I'm like, geez. Oh, let me take a pause here. Hi, Senior Harris, I believe it is. Hi. Like to shout out to you guys that are coming in on the comments. But yeah, we have this real moment here where it's like, Mando better take off his helmet again, you guys, for the second time. I'm like, why is he taking off his helmet? And it didn't have the impact before. It just kind of frustrates you a little bit. Or maybe, I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments what you thought about him having to take his helmet off for the second time. To me, I found it a little bit frustrating because I was like, well, hopefully they'll find another avenue. Because I feel like you get to a certain point where we know Mando's going to be hard on himself. He's having to break a lot of rules. Although we know he's going to get the child back. He's going to get Grogu back. He's going to do what he's got to do. But it's a lot of lines that he's having to cross that we know are breaking his Mandalorian code, his Mandalorian ethics. So he does what he got to do. He goes in there with the stick. And he takes his helmet off, putting the stick in there, trying to download the information. The whole time I'm like, after he does the face scan, I don't understand. Like the whole time I'm like, put your helmet back on. Like, what you doing? Because I'm thinking you just do a quick face scan, put it back on. Maybe somebody kind of saw you at the corner of their eye, but nobody sees you. Yeah, I mean, I see people in the comments. It does represent his love for Grogu. That's true. But I don't know. It's just getting to me. I'm like, is there another way they could have did? And then also to the time limit of how long he had this helmet off got to me. I was like, okay, you could just do the fang scan and put it back on. Like you don't got to be. It was kind of extra, kind of dramatic how long he had it off. But father going to get his kid. Represent. So we're sitting there, and then Mayfield notices that the superior officer starts talking, Valdez starts talking to Mando. He's like, I forgot what he was trying to call him, but basically trying to get his attention is like, hey, I'm your superior officer. When I talk, you gotta acknowledge and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. So Mayfield comes over there and tries to do some quick thinking. And it's like, hey, he can't really hear, because of what's been going, like his earring has been shot, and we call him brown eyes because basically Mando's just sitting there not really wanting to say anything, because we all know he's probably in shock that he's not wearing his helmet. And so basically Mayfield kind of diffuses the situation, and the superior officer is like, okay, come on, let's go have some drinks. Let's go, sit down. And I'm still like, oh my God, they got to have drinks. And Mando does not have on his helmet. All I can think about this whole scene, and there's so many things going on, so many pivotal things coming out about the plot and the storyline, but all I can think is he doesn't have his helmet on. So we're sitting down at the table. They're getting ready to they are kind of talking, starting to get their conversation on the way. But we cut to Marshall Dune and Phoenix Phoenix. We cut to Marshall Dune and Fennec, by the way, on top of the roof and holding these sniper rifles. And I'm like, whoo, those are two people that you don't ever want to see coming after you with some sniper rifles. But they sitting up on there. They kind of gave us this cut, kind of let us know that, hey, there's still somebody on the outside, kind of keeping them prepped, kind of keeping them ready to go. So we have those two people sitting up on the building, ready. They got Mando and Mayfield's back, which I feel better about because this situation turns awkward real quick. Them sitting down having drinks with Officer Valdez, Superior Officer Valdez. So we see them sitting over there. And then we go back to the table. Like I said, awkward conversation going on as the drinks continue. Mayfield basically starts to point out, and I'm like, listen, he didn't seem like he recognized you, but Mayfield is getting pissed about something and started pointing out the fact that he was in Operation Cinder. And then said he was in Burning Con. And I don't know, like, it's just Mayfield is doing, you can just tell the anger is just revving up in him. And I'm like, okay, let it go. Y'all don't have time to be trying to argue it out with this guy. Y'all don't have, because basically this chief commander officer has probably, as we can pretty much tell, has probably killed some people Mayfield knows about. And because Mayfield starts talking about many people died, he lost his division, and he was like, yeah, all the heroes of the Empire, yeah, blah. Basically, he's like, Valdez, I need you to stop because you done killed a lot of people I know. I have no respect for you. And the whole time, Mando is like, what you doing? I don't like what's going on here. And Mando gets really, really pissed. Like, he hits his breaking point when it seems like the guy doesn't care about the innocent lives. He says everyone claims that they want to be freed, but what they want is order. All this crap is just spewing from this officer's mouth. And Mayfield is like, yeah, no. How about that's a no? Pulls out his gun, shoots Valdez, and you're like, okay. So you could let us get out because Mando done already exposed his face. So Mayfield off shooting people. He done lost it. And so the shooting begins. And basically Mayfield ends up shooting majority of the people in that little terminal area, sitting area, eating area, whatever. And now Mayfield is the one that started all this kind of stuff with his mouth as he does. But is there a certain respect level for Mando or for Mayfield in this episode or in this moment? Because he's basically shot all the people that would have seen Mando's face, because Mando gets a chance to put back on his helmet. So in essence, he helped Mando out. So, I mean, it's like, can you really be mad at him? We kind of see this shift in Mayfield's personality. Like, he's starting to care about people. He feels part of this team. He's starting to have this soft spot for Mando. So, yeah, he basically shot up all these people. So anybody that could have claimed they saw Mando's face has gotten shot. So that's a very interesting perspective. We get to cut back and see Fennec and Marshall taking these killer shots with these rifles, taking out these stormtroopers left and right. So they don't really get any bombs off. And you kind of see the sound effects and everything, or hear they're like screaming the troopers as they're falling off the building. I always think that's like a little weird intricacy, but I mean, we don't like the stormtroopers, so hey, what can you say? But basically see them all falling down into this lake or refinery or whatever. And we have Mayfield and Mando trying to get to the spacecraft that Boba Fett is now flying down, trying to pick them up. And as they get saved, they get into the spacecraft. This is another thing that blows my mind, where I'm like, Mayfield has really started to bond with this team. He feels something for Mando, or he also has a point to prove too, because he's pissed off at what's happened with his past, trying to let his past go. And he picks up a I forgot the name of the weapon he picks up, but some type of rifle or whatever. It ends up taking out the refinery. Like, he hits one explosive, explosive device or whatever they have there, blows it up. And that's pretty much it. He pretty much chalks it up to being able to sleep at night, uses his line again. And so basically Mando is covered. Like, he had to break some rules to get Grogu back and showed his love, but he's covered now. Mayfield was making sure they got up out there, a little bit of his personal vendetta, his personal revenge that he probably wanted for a long time, that was welling up inside of him. He's taken care of. So, that's how we kind of come to the wrap up, the end of this episode. And so Marshall Dune, I want to point out one last thing here that I thought was cool. Well, actually, two more things. Marshall Dune and the Mandalorian end up letting Mayfield go, which I thought was a really cool moment, the way they did it. He gets to walk off. So I think that's really dope, because he did do a lot at the end of the day for Mando to kind of finally pay him back. And so now they do have, after all this shooting, after all this craziness that Mando went down, at least it was all for nothing, because we know Mando always has a plan. Now they have the coordinates, and they're going off of Moff Gideon. It's going down. And we end up getting to see this cool message. The last thing I want to mention, Mando sends a message to Moff Gideon. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he's basically saying, I'm coming for you. I'm about to get my kids, so you need to get ready. So that's how we end this chapter 15, going into last episode, the season finale, going into episode 8, I should say, chapter 16. I cannot wait to discuss this last episode with you guys. But yeah, it goes down. He did not come to play with Moff Gideon. It's going down. How this episode ended. I want to thank you guys, everybody in the comments, for coming and hanging out with me, sharing your thoughts, sharing your comments. Please continue to share and comment. This is posted up. Shameless plug. I have other Mandalorian recaps for all the other, basically from the beginning, from episode 1 down to episode 7. I got all the recaps, all the ranting. So please go check it out. And I am at November Bear on Twitter, Ryan Ben on Instagram. Follow Black Girl Nerds on all social media platforms, and let us know all of your comments, what you think of the Mandalorian so far. And hey, I got more coming, more surprises I want to tell you guys about. Definitely coming back to rant about this Mandalorian season finale, episode 8. You guys stay safe. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye.